What a beautiful day of having no ideas for a video. Awesome. Hey, actually, let me ask my super intelligent fans for video ideas. I've ran out of ideas for videos, please help, I'm desperate, thanks. Send that shit. Okay, well, I guess I'll wait and see what they come up with. Ligma, Sugma. Go play Minecraft. I'm actually planning that for another video. Despacito remix. Well, I think I'm f***ing done at this point. Goodbye. How to Spag Heddy. Hey, I think I can do that. Alright, so today we're going to make a how to sound like Spag Heddy tutorial. Spag Heddy, or by the real name of Misha Reining, is a Dutch dubstep producer who lives in Spain. Spag is mostly known for his old sign style, since those kind of tracks made him blow up on various YouTube channels such as Dubstep Gutter or Most Addictive Music. But it's been almost 3 years since he decided to try out a new style for his tracks, taking in consideration the fact that he sometimes releases old style tracks on really special or rare occasions. Also, I'm not going to teach you how to do the old Spag Heddy style since it has been debunked many times before, and there are many tutorials out there on sound design and how to make drops similar to his old style. Instead, I'm going to be focusing on his new style since I find it quite unique myself. The usual drums that Spag uses are the good old dubstep kicks and snares. There are a couple of tunes where he might use the kick and clap pattern, which is often associated with rhythm, but I've noticed that he tends to use the usual bro step pattern. Along that, he adds a close hi-hats and open hi-hats pattern. Also with some rides. And don't forget about the crash. And I've also noticed that Spag also uses filler drums for break parts in drops, such as an 808 snare fill. And maybe he might add some tom fills in a pre-drop, right before the drop hits. For an intro part, I try to use a sort of trappy kick and kick clap pattern, just to keep it interesting in comparison to the drop. So before we get into structuring and sounds, let's talk a little bit about
music theory.
I've noticed that Spag usually uses the harmonic minor scale, which is an overall really spooky scale. The only difference between a normal minor scale and a harmonic minor scale is the fact that the last note is moved with a semitone up. So by following the scale, you can create really cool chord progression that follow the Spag Heddy vibe. Now, when it comes to a structure, every Spag Heddy track kicks in with one big-ass impact. And some spooky rhythmic chords that go on for 8 bars. After that, if you want to have some extra sauce for spaghetti, you can start making some sauce steps with a different rhythm and that follows the exact same chord progression. You can layer it on top with a lead so it's even more solid. With that, you can keep the same elements from 8 bars before in your intro. Also, I've noticed that Spag really likes organ instruments, so why not adding that too? Side note, you can add even more rhythmic elements in the background, such as chants.
Hey! 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 Wonky wonky! Brown bread!
Finally, here comes our build-up. Spag Heddy's build-ups usually last for about 16 bars. So for the first 8 bars, you can remove the major elements from your intro and bring back the very first ones that kicked in with your track. Except now you'll need to add a lot of effects. Oh, and don't forget to add claps that go on every 1/4 step. And also add some cinematic drums in the background. Now for your next 8 bars, you'll really need to hype things up. Add elements such as build-up snares, kicks, more 808 snares, also some cymbals, why not? And of course, a lot of risers. But one of the most important elements in a Spag Heddy style build-up is having a vocal that builds up the hype for the drop. For the pre-drop part, I really don't know what to add, so I'm going to add some effects to fill it out and add some random rage scream, I don't know.
Rage with him straight up.
When it comes to the drop, we will really need to pay close attention to the structure of it. Spag usually makes his bass patterns in either a bro-step-ish kind of way or just pure rhythm. But besides his bass pattern, he really likes adding breaks in his drop. What that means is that at the end of every 16 bars, there has to be happening something, so he can keep the drop interesting. To understand Spag's drop structuring better, we are going to divide our 32 bar drop into 4 pieces. Therefore, we are going to talk about quarters of the drop. That means that every piece is going to be 16 bars long. We are simply going to name every piece 1, 2, 3 and 4. So if we look in the first quarter of the drop, we can notice that in the last bar of it, there is a fill that usually reminds the listener of the intro. So that means that there's no basses in there, just a chopped last bar from the intro. I'm simply going to make a melodic fill just for the sake of making a Spag Heddy type of drop. Now, if you look into the second quarter of our drop, we'll notice that Spag usually makes his break fill a little longer, therefore the very last 2 bars are going to have no basses. And those 2 bars will most likely have a melodic fill from the intro, or a simple build-up sequence. I'm just going to make a build-up fill just to keep it interesting and hype the drop more for the second half. Now, all you have to do is apply this structure to the second half too. Side note, what I've sometimes noticed at Spag Heddy's tracks is that the second half might start off with just 1 kick hit, and for the next 2 bars there will be no drums, except maybe for some drum fills to prepare the listener for the drum part. Also, never forget about stab noises, that happens once every 4 bars that are 1 measure long. Oh yeah, and add offbeat chants. Finally, we get to see how Spag Heddy actually does his sound design. Do you recognize this rhythm bass? Well, now you'll actually know how to do basses like this. So from what I've searched online and experimented myself, Spag Heddy usually uses the all passes filter and unison with small amount of random, and the noise oscillator because the all passes filter cuts a lot of high frequencies and distortion. And here's a big tip: he adds a high peak filter, but he boosts a lot the resonance on those peaks. That's why you can sometimes hear his basses having this huge talk effect. Adding a comms filter might help, though in other scenarios the comms filter makes the sound a lot more metallic, and Spag doesn't really have that many metallic basses with his current style. Oh yeah, and he uses a ton of flanger. And besides these super rhythmish basses, you can hear some normal basses here and there. Some of them even have a little melody. So if you overuse these techniques, you might end up having a full Spag Heddy drop. So that's kinda it. Let's see how our track sounds like. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Don't forget to leave a like on this video, subscribe if you would like to see more content like this, and also let me know what other artists you would like to see me make a video about. So, I will be seeing you guys in the next video. Stay safe, my boys. Stay safe.